Philosophy of discipline. So, discipline and punishment are two words that get interchanged a lot of the time. However, they have different meanings. Discipline means things that you want students to do, things that you're going to teach them, behaviors you're going to teach them that are acceptable in the classroom. Punishment is more of a penalty for misbehavior. Discipline is used as a preventative tool, and my philosophy of discipline involves setting a good foundation for my students' futures, which includes teaching them acceptable behaviors both in the classroom and beyond, helping them learn how to manage their emotions, how to be a good friend, how to take responsibility in the classroom. And part of my teacher duties, as I help set this foundation, is to provide a safe environment for my students to learn in, keeping them safe, making them feel loved and respected and like they belong in the classroom, and also teaching engaging lessons and providing them with a high quality education. Students should take responsibility in the classroom for completing their work in the best way that they can, trying their best and trying something new, being respectful of others, and just doing their best work in the classroom. Theory of discipline. So my theory of discipline involves both rules and procedures. Rules are things that I want them to do in the classroom, and they're small in number. Procedures are the everyday routines that we do in the classroom, and those can be large in number. Providing positive reinforcement, which means reinforcing those behaviors that I want to see in the classroom. So if a student is walking hip and lip with quiet feet in the hallway, not touching the wall, I need to provide some positive feedback that is specific to the behavior that I like to see. It doesn't matter if it's a positive reinforcement or a negative reinforcement, but whatever behavior is enforced is more likely to be the behavior that a student displays again. When it comes to discipline and dealing with misbehaviors, there shouldn't be any humiliation towards students, and there shouldn't be a punishment. Students need to learn from the mistakes that they make with their behavior, and fix what has been broken or messed up. Building relationships is important because when students are able to feel loved, respected in the classroom, they're probably going to display less misbehaviors. And when they're building relationships with their classmates, they're going to be more concerned about how their friends feel. Communication is also important in the classroom. Just talking with students, getting to know them, and getting them to talk about their feelings and, why a misbehavior occurred and what they can do the next time is a big part of the learning process when it comes to discipline. Professional and ethical demeanor. Like I said before, building relationships with students is very important. Not only students, but parents as well. As a professional teacher, it is very important to make sure that my students feel that they are loved, that they are respected, and that they belong in the classroom. When they're feeling loved, respected, and safe in the classroom, they are going to be more receptive to learning. I should self-evaluate. not only my lessons that I'm teaching, but also how I'm handling the misbehaviors in my classroom. One way to self-evaluate is to video myself teaching or interacting with my students in the classroom in small group, whole group, whatever, and just going back and reviewing the video, seeing where I, you know, was doing a good job with my discipline. What can I tweak to fix it? What worked? What didn't work? Self-evaluation is very important. I should also teach engaging lessons. Keeping students engaged can help keep the number of misbehaviors down in the classroom. And I should also be a positive role model in the class. I should display the behaviors that I want to see. If I want my students to use their manners in the classroom, then I should do that as well. Promoting the rules to support student behavior. So rules are very important, and rules should be talked about on the very first day of school. Rules and routines need to be practiced over and over and over again. The first 2 weeks at least should be spent going over rules and routines. Like I said before, rules should be small in number, usually no more than 5. Rules for my classroom are following directions, keeping hands, feet, and objects to yourself, share and take turns, be kind, and try. Routines are everyday procedures that we do in the classroom, so students know what they are supposed to do at all times. They're not left wondering, oh, well, I don't know what I should be doing right now, so maybe I should get into some mischief. If they have those routines set in place and they know what they're supposed to do, that can help discourage misbehavior. So practicing rules and routines over and again, starting at the beginning of the year with that practice. And then since I work with 4 and 5-year-olds, I need to practice the rules and routines again after holidays or breaks like Christmas or spring break. And having a plan of how I'm going to teach these rules and these routines is important. And knowing the routines that I want to use, the rules I want to use, all of that should be included in the plan and ready to be used at the beginning of the year. Proactively preventing or reducing inappropriate behavior. So practicing rules and routines, that is a great way to begin. When students know what is expected of them and what they are supposed to be doing at all times, that can help decrease misbehaviors. Building relationships with students, making them feel loved and valued, can help boost their confidence, make them feel like they belong in the classroom, and hopefully discourage misbehaviors. Building relationships with parents can also help prevent misbehaviors in the classroom. When you have the parent support, they're backing you with your rules in your classroom, that can be very encouraging and help students remember, oh, Mom and I talked about this last night, and I need to choose a different behavior next time I get upset. Teachers should model acceptable behavior. Like I said, if I want my students to use good manners, then I need to be using good manners as well. Being aware of students at all times is an important factor. Learning students, knowing what their triggers may be or some of their mannerisms before they get upset or display an unacceptable behavior can help prevent that behavior from coming through. If I'm able to catch it beforehand, I can intervene and hopefully reduce the number of misbehaviors. And keeping students engaged, giving them high quality, engaging lessons does not give them a chance, an opportunity to let their mind wander and figure out a way to do something for some attention because they're bored. So those are some of the ways to prevent some of the misbehaviors in class. supporting students' efforts to participate and persevere. So keeping those students engaged in high quality lessons, teaching things that they are interested in, are all ways to support student success in the classroom. Including cultural diversity in the classroom is very important. Students want to see book characters or pictures of people in the classroom who look like them, who celebrate holidays and cultural traditions the way that they do. When they see these things in the classroom, it makes them feel like they belong. Differentiating lessons for students' needs is very important. It may be an academic need, it may be a physical need. Whatever the need may be, there should be differentiating taking place in the classroom to ensure that all students are able to actively participate in the lessons. Encouraging students to connect with classmates is a good way to promote cooperation in the classroom. When students work well together, they're more apt to learn more, to get along with each other, to understand each other better, to have respect and care for each other. And using positive language in the classroom promotes learning. It promotes students' confidence, building their confidence by using that positive language in the classroom. Redirecting students when misbehavior occurs. So when these misbehaviors occur, it's important to remain calm and talk with students calmly and positively in the classroom. If you're yelling at a student, they're probably not listening to you. But if you talk to them like the human being that they are probably going to be more receptive to what you're saying. Having students reflect on behavior is also important. Understanding why the behavior is not acceptable will help them not to do that behavior again, to display that behavior again, and communicating ways that they can handle the situation differently next time will give them a different choice when it comes to a similar situation in the future. We should praise desired behaviors. If we are praising, well, not necessarily praising, but reinforcing negative behavior, then that behavior is what's going to be displayed. We need to praise the desired behaviors, the things that we want to see, and that will encourage students to display appropriate behavior in the classroom. And being consistent with rules, being consistent with routines, being consistent with consequences, treating students fairly and consistently. You know, if one student receives a consequence for misbehavior, then the next student needs to have the same consequence. There shouldn't be any favoritism or unfairly treating students just because it's a different student. Everything should be consistent. Communicating discipline with students, administrators, and families. So communicating discipline with students begins on the very first day of school, practicing rules, making sure that those rules are posted in the classroom so they are easy to reference. That is important. Since I work with 4 and 5-year-old students, when I post my rules, I put pictures with them. So even though they can't read the words, they can connect the picture to the desired behavior. Parent communication is so important. Building that foundation, having a good rapport, contacting parents other than just for disciplinary actions, only calling because their student did something wrong is not going to build a positive relationship with the parent. we need to let them know their students' successes as well. Having lesson plans for the way that we're going to teach our rules and routines and having them available for administrators to look at is a good way to let them know the discipline plan for the classroom. And also, being in a PBIS school, administrators know those rules in the matrix, and that's a good way to connect the school rules, the school-wide rules, with the classroom rules. So energizing the classroom, keeping lessons hands-on will help keep students engaged and keep them busy, and they're not going to have time to think about any misbehaviors. In my classroom, I like to use a lot of music for teaching, and that really keeps my students engaged, especially if it has movement connected with it. And little ones need to be moving a lot. They do not need to be sitting down all day, as well as older students. So music and movement go hand in hand in my classroom, and switching it up. I have 6 units that I go through during my classroom or during my year of school, and I switch out different manipulatives and games and toys and activities that align with my unit theme, and that keeps my students engaged and doesn't give them time to think of many misbehaviors. And teaching students interest is very important. Teaching students what they want to know will keep them engaged. So if they have a question, if they are interested in something that you're talking about, pull up a YouTube video about it, pull up, Google some facts about what they want to learn, and just take a few minutes to do that, and show interest in what they are interested in.